Hi there and welcome back to Take 10 Texture. This is the 10th and final process video for this class. And in this class, I'm going to be talking about how to use contrast between smooth, shiny, foily surfaces on your layout and coarse, bumpy textures on your layout. So let's get started. I'm going to start by keeping you on regular speed and talking a little bit about something I'm going to use in this project. So I have this textured white cardstock and it has the texture of wood grain in it. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love this paper. It comes in 12 by 12 sheets and I'm pretty sure it also comes in 8.5 by 11 sheets. I will put a link in the information section for this video and in the PDF. And what I love to use this paper for is actually I run it through my photo printer. I cut it down to the exact same size as a 4x6 piece of photo paper, and then I just run it through my Epson PictureMate Charm. This would work for any printer that has its own ink, so it'll work for any printer that doesn't have the ink built into the paper. This gives you a beautiful effect on your photo. You can use this paper in a lot of different ways, but my favorite thing to use it for is printing up photos. Look at that beautiful wood grain look. Now it works a lot better for the second photo than it does for the first one that I showed as I was talking. The first photo, it looks great and it's very funky, but because there's so much detail in that photo and it's a bit more of a special memory that I want to make sure I capture well. And so I think it's especially good for these photos that have a large face in it. It looks really amazing on baby photos, believe it or not. And so anyways, I am going to be matting this photo with a piece of glossy paper. I just showed you the wrapping from my Stampin' Up! Packaging that this came in. I'm just going to trim down my photo there. And the reason I'm using glossy paper to mat my photo is because it'll give you a really nice contrast between the flat, coarse, bumpy texture on the photo and then this shiny, glossy finish on the matting around the photo. And I just love it. I find that it just emphasizes the texture of the photo, and you can get glossy paper almost anywhere. Even photo paper would do really well for this. So what I'm going to do is just show you a few other things that you can do with this paper. Because I had the paper out and I had a couple of scraps on hand, I thought I would show you how this looks with when you swipe some ink across it. It really brings out the wood grain. And so I'm just going to my stash right now and grabbing some distress inks, but you could use any kind of ink. This will even work with pigment ink and chalk ink. And so I would play around with a couple of different looks. So isn't that beautiful? Look at how the wood grain just pops out when you do it. I like to have a real messy, streaky look so that, you can see parts of it and then there's white gaps in parts of it. The more you go over it, the darker it gets. And I chose a really vibrant color so that you could really see the detail in that embossed paper. You can also use this exact same technique over paper that you've run through your embossing with an embossing folder through your die cut machine, and it just gives a beautiful, beautiful effect. Look at that. Look at how pretty that is. This is very, very bright, so I chose two very bright ink colors just to show you a couple of different looks that you can get. And the juicier the pad, the more vivid the ink will be, of course. Now I'm just going to my stash and I'm grabbing some crumb cake ink from Stampin' Up! And I actually did that off screen, so I'm just going to show you it again. So this is a really light, it's designed to go along with Stampin' Up's craft colored cardstock, which they call crumb cake. And so this is just a really nice, soft brown. I think it gives a really beautiful, natural wood look to it. It's not the color that many woods would actually be, but I really love the look of this particular texture with crumb cake swiped over it. I actually like that so much that I made another one just to show you. And there's the detail of that one. And I love how casual that would look beautiful on a fall themed layout or a Christmas layout. I just love that embossed cardstock. It's one of my favorite items ever. So here we go. I'm going to start with scrapbooking this photo. So I've already matted it and already printed it up and trimmed it down. And here I have this tag that you guys would have seen me making in a previous layout. This was the extra tag that I made on the Wild Heart layout. And I think that this is going to be a good project to use this one on. This photo tells the story of my sister's gift to me when we went to visit her. She gave me a hashtag mug, which she has had that mug for a long time, and I always pretend to steal it when I go to visit her. So she bought me my own. So I'm actually pulling out an old collection. This is the Hello Again collection from Carta Bella. And I chose this collection because even though it's an older one, Carta Bella paper has this beautiful texture to it. It's like a soft, it's almost like an orange peel texture, but it's very matte and very beautiful. And the paper is thick. It's almost like cardstock, actually. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is more the weight of cardstock than it is pattern paper. So I'm just going to cut. I'm using the scraps that I already had from another layout that I made with this quite some time ago. And I'm just going to remove the manufacturer's strip from some of those papers. I'm going to use this beautiful bluey colored background, or I guess maybe it's mint green. And I'm going to use this tool, which boy, oh boy, this is an old tool. It's new to me. I have a friend who just stopped scrapbooking and she sold me some of her supplies. And so I'm going to use this crimper for the first time ever. I don't think they're supposed to open because there's glue inside that suggests that they're actually not supposed to open. But I tried to feed a piece of paper through it without opening it, and it was really hard to do. So since mine opens, probably just because it's old and that glue had cracked, I decided to feed the paper in and then close it on the paper. And now you just turn that wheel there, and it just brings the paper right through and crimps it up as you go. These were available at places like Walmart and Michael's a while ago. I didn't pick one up back when they were really popular, but I really, really love it. If you've been scrapbooking or even just crafting for a while, you might have one of these at home in your stash. So this is what the paper looks like, and see how it just adds that really subtle detail. If you crimp a plain paper without much of a design, you'll really see the crimping. And also if you crimp a very thin paper, it also has a bigger impact. So because this is on a soft, quite detailed pattern paper and the paper's quite thick, the result is really quite subtle, and I really like it a lot. It's not going to overpower like some of the other methods that I talked about for using texture that really kind of pop out and grab your eye. This is much more of a subtle look, especially when you're dealing with a patterned paper. So here I just felt like this project needed a little bit of black. A touch of black is always a good idea on every layout, or navy blue or something dark just to anchor things. So I'm going to take this little tiny strip of text paper from the same collection, and I cut it apart, and see how I'm reserving the other piece because I might need to put black somewhere else. I also took this best sticker from the collection that goes with that paper from Hello Again, and I might use that as well because that's another pop of black, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm having a look at the sticker sheet here just to see if there's anything else on here that I want to use on this page. And I'm also thinking about the fact that the Crate Paper Cute Girl collection from Crate Paper, see, it's a coffee cup, so that coffee sticker really was tempting me, but it wasn't quite the right phrasing on it, so I didn't want to use it. So I'm going to use this little tab sticker that you just kind of wrap around something. It has a phrase on one side and then it's empty on the other side, so I'm using the empty side and I'm just pinching it around my photo like that. So here's the Cute Girl collection, and there's some sister related phrases in that, so I thought I might want to use that. I'm looking for some sister related phrases because my sister gave me the mug. But I can't find any in the die cut set, and the puffy stickers were just way too cutesy for what I had in mind for this one. But some of these phrase stickers at the bottom here might work, so I'm going to keep these in mind. Look at me, I'm trying to find the perfect phrase. So the phrases that I picked there are, the top one in pink says "Hey girl," and the other one says "Sweetheart," and that one is in black, so it brings another little bit of black to my project. And look, I thought if ever I could use one of these little crowns that you put on people's heads, I thought this was the time, right? This photo is silly anyways, so I don't feel so bad. There's not many opportunities that a 43-year-old woman can put a crown on her head on a photo, so I thought I better take advantage of this opportunity. So I also thought that I could use this tassel from the Cute Girl collection. And these kinds of embellishments are sometimes a challenge to use, but I'll encourage you when you're thinking about texture, it's a really great opportunity to use some of these unique embellishments that come specific to collections. So these tassels aren't something that many collections have, but this one collection does have them. And also these layered wood veneer pieces are also a really nice opportunity to add some texture. And I'm going to show you that rubber hose up close in a few minutes. So hang on and I'll show you just how beautiful that is in terms of adding texture to your project. So before I get too far, I am going to glue this all down because otherwise it becomes overwhelming to glue everything down if you wait too long. So I'm going to slip this piece of black paper in there. And that crown is a chipboard sticker from the Cute Girl collection, as is the tassel, the house, the rubber house piece, and the gold heart. So those are all from Cute Girl. Now I'm just looking at my word sticker drawer because I feel like I need more words on this one. My thought is that I need something horizontal to cover that awkward place where the tassel meets the paper clip. It's just not looking all that pretty in my mind. So I want to layer some horizontal stickers over top of that just to cover up that awkward place. But first I need to do something just to keep that tassel roughly in the right spot. So I used my tiny attacher there just to staple that. It doesn't matter that it doesn't look good because my plan is to cover it with a little phrase sticker. And so I am placing my dimensional adhesive on that so that they're going to fit on either side of the bulkiness of the tassel. And I had to put 2 on one side and 3 on the other side so that sticker would sit flat. And it's basically going to be attached by 2 stacks of dimensional adhesive. And now you can see that like the top of it popping out on the other side of that sticker. And so now I'm going to think about what else I can put there. And another phrase sticker is perfect. These phrase stickers look really nice stacked on top of one another, like they are up above with the Hey Girl and Sweetheart. So these ones say, what does that say? Best friends always. And then the other one says sweet stuff. And then the heart, of course, says sweet on it as well. So I'm having another look at those stickers. Sorry, I haven't zoomed out, but I'm looking at the Cute Girl stickers. And I'm thinking that house needs something to sit upon. I have this thing with embellishments that if I put an animal or a house or something like that on a layout, I like it to sit on something because otherwise it just looks, in my mind, it just looks strange floating there. And when I say that, I say that with a lot of hesitation because some other people seem to have a way of making things float and look good. I just can't seem to master that. So for me, I just put ledges under things that look a little strange. It's a good tip for if you can't get things to look right when you're clustering your embellishments. Try putting something substantial underneath of it, not layered behind it, but just under it. I mean, layered behind will work too. So the thing that I'm putting under my house to give it some anchoring is this label sticker for my stash and then the word best, which I am inlining. Instead of outlining, I'm inlining it. I don't know if that's a real word, but I'm making it up. And I know I've done that recently for a couple of my layouts, and I really like how it looks. It looks like I wrote the word best because it's wobbly and imperfect, and that's okay. It's important to embrace your imperfections and just go with it, and it gives it a nice handmade look. So I just used dimensional adhesives. Now look at this. Isn't this rubber piece absolutely beautiful? These rubber pieces come with a lot of collections these days, and they're just so beautiful. It's such a nice way to add texture and detail because they're this really nice matte rubber, and they're just so much fun. And they add, especially when they have these bold black outlines around them, they just add a real pop to your project. So now I've moved everything aside and grabbed my typewriter because I don't want it to look like I'm the best. I want it to be about the gift is the best, and kind of my sister is the best too. So I'm going to use this leftover library card from another project, and it was one of the cutoffs when I cut my library card the wrong size on another project. And so I'm going to use it with my typewriter to type out my sister and is the, and that those two phrases will go right beside the word best. So it'll say, my sister is the best. So here we go. And I'm just going to cut out these typed up strips. And I'm cutting them fairly tight so that there's not a whole lot of white space around it. I could have used anything. It didn't have to be a library card because you're not going to actually see that it was on a lined piece of paper, but that's okay. Now I'm going to make a mistake here. I'm going to start by stapling them too far away. It is tricky stapling on a project that's already partly assembled. So you have to kind of go with it when there's too much of a gap there. I don't really like that. You see that distracting strip of black between the two, and it's just, I don't like it very much. So I'm thinking about what else I can do, and I'm just going to remove that staple. I have to pull back the project a little tiny bit, and I just use my fingernails to pull back one of the edges of the staple and then just loop it out. And then I adhered that so that it was closer to the others. And using adhesive and a staple really helps because you don't have to worry about holding it in place with your fingers while you're trying to staple, especially something tiny like that. So I like how that phrase looks when it's closer together like that. So it says, my sister is the best. And now I'm ready to adhere this whole thing down onto the project. And I'm not adhering that pink strip that has the crimping on it because I want it to stand out a little bit. When I put it into my page protector, I will probably put a couple of pieces of foam adhesive behind either side of it so that it'll stand out. But as long as it's not in a pocket in like a big page protector, it stands out on its own. So this is a sticker that came in that Hello Again collection, and I'm just going to do my journaling on it. I'll read it for you. It says, when we visited Sarah in her new home, she gave me a hashtag mug, just like hers, in brackets, which I always pretended to steal. She's so thoughtful. I love her to bits. And then under location, I put Bradford, Ontario. And this journaling ties in the fact that there's a house embellishment on this, and it kind of gives you a context for the whole thing. So when I say sweet and sweetheart and hey girl and best friends always, it becomes more clear that I'm talking about my sister. Because otherwise, because my sister isn't in this picture, she actually wasn't home when I took this picture. We were just staying in her house without her there at first. And so that just kind of gives some context for this project, and it makes it more clear. I wish I had been able to take a selfie with her, but I have lots of other selfies of her without the mug. So this is all I have for capturing the mug story. So taking one last look at some of the stickers, and I'm feeling like I need something else to go over here along with my journaling. And I know I'm going to put a title, but I also need some embellishments to go with it to give me a third spot where I have embellishments. So I'm going to put this little telephone up here. The telephone is relevant because my sister lives in a different province, and so we often only communicate over phone. It's usually text, but still it's a phone. So I wanted to put a third heart on this. So I grabbed the other one that says sweet or love you, and that's relevant. But then the other one said like cute girl or something. So I decided to cover it with another sticker from the collection that says sweet. And so now I'm just over at my Rascog picking out some thickers, and I do apologize, I forgot to film the process, but the process of choosing thickers this time was actually not very elaborate at all, because I knew that I wanted gold thickers, and I only have a few sets of gold thickers. I didn't want glitter, I wanted gold foil thickers to pick up on the gold foil that's already on that tassel. And there's gold in the hearts too, but they're not quite a shiny silvery gold, it's more of a matted gold. So this set of thickers I absolutely love. They're called Gilded, and they're chunky and they're foil, and I really, really love them. I haven't used them often enough at all, so I'm happy to get them on a project here. And then that font didn't come with a hashtag, so I took the imprint font, which also has a gold foil line through it, and used the hashtag from that collection. So my title is #mug. And I immediately didn't like the placement of this title or the way it looks on the project, because as I've mentioned a couple of different times, I usually prefer to put my titles on something. I usually put them on a journaling tag or some type of something to anchor it to my project and to make the background not be so distracting. So these are a set of Gossamer Blue Label stickers, and you saw me just pick out a very neutral looking one, and I put my title on that instead. And then I just kind of felt like the layout was looking too symmetrical with the title placed over there. So I put it up here so that this cluster, instead of being right on the same horizontal line as the cluster that includes the house, it's up a little bit more. So I have more of an off-centered triangle going on here between where those three gold hearts are. But then when I moved the title up to the top there, it left this kind of strange, empty looking space. So I just put a floral sticker there, and then I didn't want it to be the only floral thing, so I had to pick 2 more floral stickers and find homes for them in the other 2 clusters. That's the way it goes, right? You have to keep adding and adding and adding. I did tuck that little telephone right under behind the hashtag. And now this is my last minute choice here. I decided to add this little bit of black paper just to balance off the black at the bottom. I really like the addition that this paper gives to the layout. Otherwise, it was looking very bottom heavy, and that black paper at the bottom was really catching your interest and your eye, and it's really an irrelevant part. Like, it's really just there for detail. I don't want you to read the words, they're not all that meaningful, and so adding it up here just makes it pop out a little bit less at the bottom and balances it off. And I've talked a little bit about balance all through this course, and basically what I mean when I'm talking about balance is just kind of evening things off, but without necessarily making things symmetrical. So I sprinkled some of the star confetti that came with the Cute Girl collection, and I love this confetti. I will tell you why I love it. First of all, the gold stars are a matte gold instead of a shiny gold, and then the shiny stars that you see, they're actually a beautiful metallic turquoisey, minty greenish, bluey color. And the color is absolutely perfect for this layout. And they're like little mirrors. They're just so foily and pretty. And the contrast between those 2 types of stars is just beautiful. They just look so wonderful together. Now, 2 of those stars landed on top of each other, and I liked the dimension that gave it. So I just glued it that way so that both of them were on top. I missed one. See, there's a little star right on top of the telephone. I didn't see that one, that it landed there. So the way that I got my confetti to look kind of nice is I just sprinkled it with my fingers, and then in 3 different places, and then I took off some of the extra ones and left it very natural looking. Now I'm sprinkling some Mr. Huey's white, and I'm going to dry it beforehand. I'm not going to dry it completely, but I just don't want it quite so drippy, so that if any gold lands on top of the white, I don't want them to mix. I want them to keep separate. So I'm just giving it a spot of heat just to dry it up a little tiny bit. And now I'm going to give my Heidi Swapp Color Shine a very, very, very good shake. And I keep shaking it, and I keep looking at the bottom and checking it to see if there's any sediment kind of laying in the bottom of the bottle. And if there is, I keep shaking. And then once it goes clear on the bottom, then I know it's ready to use. So I'm just putting away my Heidi Swapp nonstick mats now, and I'm going to give you a close-up look at this project. Even though it's not quite finished, I have one more of those stars that has to be adhered down, the one that's on the telephone right now. So this is how it looks. You get to see the texture of that Carta Bella paper. Isn't it pretty? And then those stars just landed so beautifully. Nothing like true random to make a project look nice and random. You can see, pick up on the texture on the photo there, that wood grain. It just, oh, I love it. I love, love, love that paper. And all of these different elements, the shiny and the coarse, all come together to give you just the right amount of interest around this photo in a really tight visual triangle here. We've got our 3 different points of the triangle are very close together. Up in the top left hand, up in the top right hand corner, the bottom right hand corner, and then in the center of the left hand side of that photo. And it does make a difference, I think, that having the third point of that triangle not be parallel to the first point of the triangle makes a big difference in the energy that this project has. It makes it a little bit less predictable and fun and more fun. So I just glued that last star in place. I did use Tombow Mono multi-adhesive for all of those stars and also for the rubber piece, because that is the glue that I prefer to use for gluing non-paper to paper. And here are some of the close-ups of this one. That crown is a little shout out to my Mercy Tiara name. And gosh, I love, love, love that font in mug. I have to use that gilded thicker more often because I love it. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope that you found the entire class helpful for giving you some ideas on how to use texture on your pages and how to bring together different elements to add texture and interest to your projects. I'm just going to give you a really quick look at how my room looked after I finished the last 3 layouts. All came together really quickly, and my room was a bit of a disaster. So I will see you guys back in the classroom. If you have anything else to say or talk about back there, I'll be hanging out and I'll reply to any of your comments that you have. So I hope that you've had a great time in this texture class and have a really great scrappy week.